everybody, and welcome to Geek Freak Special Game of Thrones Review. I am Frank, and I'm with Susan.
Hey guys.
And Jonathan.
What's up, y'all?
All right, this is our second to last episode, our penultimate, and emotional one in a lot of ways.
It is insane.
So,
It's probably the top 3 episodes to me of the entire series.
and a lot of people would disagree with you.
But-
a lot of people think this is the worst thing
A lot of
that
people suck.
or that Game of Thrones has ever done.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I think we should do. I think we're going to go through kind of quickly the story,
Yeah.
and then we'll sit there and discuss our reaction and try to justify it. I've always been an optimist. I try to always be an optimist, and especially when it comes to content that I know a lot of people worked hard on.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Did end of season 1 ruin that for you, though? This whole Optimist thing?
but I'm saying like the effort into what they put in the show, because a lot of people have said like nobody cares about the story. Like there people are saying that the writers just don't care anymore and they just gave up.
No, that's
Like,
What?
no, man,
No, not
these
at
guys
all.
worked. This is a decade of their life into the show. They're not just going to throw it all away. They tried their hardest.
Yeah, I like how you explained it last week, too, how we can have a million theories, and we can write with many, many hours of investment. We can all work together and write a beautiful ending, but in the end, there's only going to be one, and it will be what it will be. We can't just hope and pray that it's going to work out just during this path or that path or whatever which way. It's going to have one cohesive story.
And from the very beginning, they warned us. This is not going to be what you expect. It will not make you happy.
Yeah.
They've told us that 100 times, and it's like...
They should have had the series of unfortunate events intro that explains this is a sad story.
I love that show. Don't get me started. Every time somebody brings it up, I always just like, I love that show so much.
I like the evolving intro that explains this is a terrible story. Don't watch anymore.
I would love to sit down. If anybody ever wants to guest spot on this podcast, me sit down and we'll analyze the entire series in one go. I really want to go over that last episode. Everybody hates the last episode. I think it might be one of the best, well-done episodes of the whole show.
We binged that series too, so we'll have to get in on that.
A lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions. I know.
Back to Game of Thrones.
Sorry, you got me off on a tangent there. Okay, so we're going to get into this episode. I know everybody's heated about this episode, so we're going to start off. Again, it's going to be all out of order, and we're going to try to go kind of quickly. But we start off at Dragonstone. Dany's back there. As opposed to Rhaegal and Missandei. They both died. And she's upset. She's withdrawn. She stopped eating. She's kind of like cooped up. You guys notice how messy her hair is?
Yeah, and
she's
her
mourning.
bags underneath her eyes. She just looks like she's out of it almost.
The hair thing's a funny little kind of Easter egg because Missandei was in charge of her grooming.
I didn't notice
she was
that.
the one that used to do all the braiding.
The
And,
fancy regal looking hairstyles.
which later on she got it back, so it's kind of like, okay, it makes sense that she would just have somebody else do it. But it was kind of a nice little like touch that like Missandei's not taking care of me right now.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of a cool little thing there. They even wrote down, hair is a mess. Then Jon arrives, and we see that like Varys greets him right away. And Jon is blinded with his like loyalty to Dany.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he knows he probably shouldn't be, but he still is.
Yeah.
It's that Ned Stark in him. Ned Stark was loyal to Stannis.
Yeah, your
Or
word
to
is
the
your
law.
word. It's unfortunate that you said those words, but you know what? It's your bond, and you have to stand by it. If not, nothing else matters.
Same thing with Rob. Rob went to that wedding knowing his word is word, and we've seen it fail the Starks time and time again.
Yep.
And we see it starting to fail Jon. It's that Stark half of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, but Varys approaches him and on the beach, and Varys is working hard on the alternate plan of, hey, let's put Jon on the throne. He's the one to go with.
Yeah.
And he brings up a line that was also mentioned in the little prelude to this episode that it's said multiple times in the books and shows. When a Targaryen is born, the gods toss a coin. And one way is a great leader, and the other way is a mad king. So this whole time we always assumed it was great leader for Daenerys. And we're starting to kind of get a feeling like maybe not,
Yeah.
Definitely not.
I like how they included that little they didn't even show anything, but it was just the audio,
The voiceover.
During the intro, because I was like, oh man, I was hoping kind of that we would see that, but I like how beforehand they had painted a beautiful picture too. Varys and Davos and Tyrion talking on the wall, watching them together, saying, imagine what a world would be like if we could have, Jon, a noble man, and a whatever was just queen, side by side ruling together.
Yeah.
So they tried to get us hopeful.
Yeah.
They always do.
And they hook us with that all the time.
One thing that Varys said, and I don't know why it had never dawned on me this whole time. It maybe has, but it just hit me hard this time. Was when Varys said, I don't know which way it went with you, but I know that you'd be a great leader. So basically he's saying that it just blew my mind because I never thought about how, that coin was tossed for Jon as well.
Oh, Oh, that's so
just
true.
you guys too.
That did. I never considered that.
I was so happy I could see that look in both of your guys' faces.
Did not think about
We
that.
did find out he's Targaryen.
He's
so.
always a great leader too.
Yeah.
It may not be what's best, but he always does like the best leader thing.
Now that the big question is, or to me, is
so happy.
I know we talked about this beforehand. You made sure not to mention that
Yeah,
until
I did.
now.
I know.
But I wonder if that is the Targaryen in him, or is the Targaryen with a Ned Stark influence?
I think it's kind of the perfect
Yeah.
Because
sense.
he
that's what I
follows
was
his
just
dad
thinking.
so much.
He's a song of ice and fire.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I mean, it's
man.
it's like literally the best born leader you could possibly
So
make.
that song isn't the two of them. It's
I
him,
know.
2 and
He
1.
is the song of
Oh,
ice and fire.
God, such a good story.
Keep that in mind, guys. Don't get negative on the show too bad.
Right?
Okay. So yeah, and John, of course, blind loyalty says, "She's my queen. This is treason you're talking about."
Yep.
And what we saw this whole time beforehand, we saw he was talking. Varys was talking to his little birds.
Yeah.
He's been writing down notes. Those parchments he's writing on are the ones you tie to crows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To send a letter.
So what he's been doing, presumably, is telling the Seven Kingdoms that Dany's not the rightful ruler.
Yeah.
So now everybody in all the Seven Kingdoms knows that it's actually supposed to be John.
Now, do you think he got many of these letters out, or do you think the one that he burnt in the canister when Grey Worm walked in was the first one he was writing?
Well, I think that was one of many that had already gone out because
He just didn't want evidence that he was treason against her, or
Yeah.
working on treason.
because Tyrion came in to talk to Dany and said somebody betrayed you, and I looked at her right away. She's like, it was John, and yeah,
That's so cold.
and Tyrion's like, no, it was Varys. Because that means that word's gotten back that everybody's getting these letters. I assume that that's kind of what the idea is. But then she turned around again. She's like, no, Varys learned from you. You learned from Sansa. Sansa learned from John. John betrayed me.
Yeah.
And so she's still putting it on John, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just, it's so hard because you love these characters. And after these seasons, you're just like, please don't go down this path of
Make
madness,
peace. Yeah.
you know, and you just see her slipping and it's tough. I wish we had like 5 more seasons at least.
Oh yeah, elaborate between the characters and the all these steps that we're taking.
Yeah, because they're developing. I mean,
Yeah, but they're being forced to develop so fast because we only have, one more episode after this. They had to kind of rush the
it's
story.
going to be 2 hours, right? A 2-hour episode?
It's hefty. I don't remember the exact time.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish it was. I wish it was 2 hours. I wish we had to go to the theaters to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems viable. I could do that.
Well, you know, I'll buy a theater. Okay, so and out of all this, what we're finding out is Varys needs to be executed. It's a promise that they made from the last season. Is that I would be honest with you when I think it's time to turn on you. He was last episode, and now she's taking up her side. I'm gonna burn you, and it has to be like one of the saddest moments for me of a character dying in this whole show so far.
I love the closeness between him and Tyrion and how Tyrion confesses, yes, it was me. Like, oh man. Like, I don't think we've ever seen somebody dying who was betrayed, but that honesty of, I'm sorry to see you go, but I'm the one that had to out you that,
Yeah.
Outside of Jaime, it was Tyrion's best friend.
Yeah.
And so they thought the same way. They were confidants, and
though he wasn't loyal to a single leader, he was loyal to the betterment of humanity.
he was really loyal to basically us as viewers. Like if we were realistically in this point of view, we wouldn't be a ruler of some kingdom.
Yeah.
We would be a peasant.
Yeah.
And
we see
he
that
was-
perspective. We see his perspective through Arya later on in the episode.
I'm so glad I literally wrote that down. Good job.
Okay.
Good catch, man. Because I was like, man, when you're watching Arya, you're like feeling it.
Yeah, because I don't think she ever really felt it. Even when she was blinded and learning from the faceless men, I don't think she ever really knew what it was like to be a peasant living amongst the people that way.
That's one of those book things. In the book, she does because while she's over there, there is a long time where she has to like assassinate this guy who does like insurance plans for boats.
Yeah.
And so the whole time she's having to like live with this family where she goes out and sells these oysters every day.
Yeah.
Maybe
They did show a little bit of
They
that.
did? Okay.
Yeah.
And so
They showed her
that she
selling
lived
oysters.
amongst the peasants for like months in that process of assassinating that guy. And so that's right, because that's the one where she's going wrong and killing the guy from King's Landing. So okay. Varys is executed. Very sad execution. Dracarys, whatever, and burnt. So
Good CGI with Drogon over her head.
oh well, yeah, it was good. But then I'm kind of like, did he like sneak up on her? Like I didn't see that dragon when they did the wide shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. Where out of the darkness you see his face and his gown.
And how huge he is. Like, it really, that contrast of her tiny body and just his head
I know.
is really cool imagery. Anyways.
Then we find out that Jaime was captured, and when he's trying to get into King's Landing because he's hooked on Cersei. He's trying to get in there and back out. Then Tyrion breaks him out. Was that a good call? I mean, it was kind of like
I think
this is
so.
the point too, by the way, where Dany made it very clear, like, you betrayed me enough times. Next time you're executed.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does this. So
I think it's worth it because he loves his brother, and I love that they took the time to have that little heart-to-heart, because if he just broke the chains or cut or unlocked his locks and then walked away, it would have felt cheap and pointless, and like Tyrion just wasted his life.
Yeah.
But the fact that they took the time for him to say, like, you were the only one. I was the mutant dwarf who my father hated me. My mother died because of me. I was useless to the world, but you were the one person that believed in me and loved me. That meant everything. Like, that made it totally worth it. He was willing to give his life for his brother.
He, in his mind, I think he thinks he's doing that too.
Yeah.
I think I do agree with how you're saying that, you know, he wanted to express his feelings to his brother, but I also feel like there was a part of him that he didn't want to see, you know, innocent children die, because he knew that Dany is going down that slope. So he's just like, you know, I mean, he made a very big emphasis, you know, please make sure they ring the bell. The bell.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You need to make sure they ring the bell.
So cool. I love the whole idea of, like, so when the time comes, we're all like waiting for that bell.
Yeah.
Like,
you show it so clear in the beginning of the battle many times. Yeah.
So there's that, and I think he does understand that, like, it's kind of sad too, because he's like letting his brother go so that he can die with his sister, with the one he loves. So it's like he knows most likely Jaime's gonna die. Yeah. But at least it's the way Jaime wants to go out. Like, he's honoring that death. It's freaking great. Yeah. But it was tough to watch. You know, it's unfortunate either way. He tells Tyrion, you know, when you get to Cersei, you guys could escape through these catacombs. That's how I got out of there. And you can go off and live in Essos and just be a happy little married couple.
There'll be a small boat waiting for you.
Never would Cersei be on board with that. You know, I could never imagine her trying to be a farmer's wife. It's just not going to happen.
No.
But yeah, so...
Try to make her own kingdom on a farm kind of thing.
All right, so yeah, that's the first time we hear about the bells, and so kind of foreshadowing that's going to be pretty important to us later on. And then we get to the attack of King's Landing, and there's just a series of things I would have done differently on this one, guys. Okay, so first off, Iron Fleet gets roasted by Drogon. He just flies in fast and burns them all up. Why so easy?
Exactly. That was my whole thing, is that it seemed so daunting before. Yeah. And we were kind of hoping to see an iron-plated Drogon. That's what I was hoping. Some measure of defense against this huge weapon they can't seem to overcome. But there was nothing. They overcame it with no problem. Yeah. She just flew between them. There wasn't even a clipped wing or almost hit Daenerys or something like that. It was just too easy.
Missed. Yeah. If there was if he was taking a couple shots here and there or something like that, just something like it was daring. Yeah. They made sure to show that he came in fast, because they had the extra sound effect of like jet was coming in quick. Yeah. And he did fly in low, which kind of meant like
helped.
But there was something else to it.
An easy thing that I think would have helped us is if they mentioned something like that as a strategy prior. If Tyrion or Davos or somebody said, "Hey, you know what? If you stay low and tight and fast, they'll never be able to hit you." Yeah. Okay. Or fly in from the east, they'll all be facing west. You'll be able to burn them up before they can turn.
Bronn has fired one of these things, and he has now an invested interest in them winning this fight. By the way, after all this is done, Bronn's the most screwed person of all of everybody. Nobody's giving him a castle anymore.
That's true.
Right?
He's sitting out there just like from the hill watching. It's like, no, somebody needs to win this war. Right. I have deals in both sides. And anyways, and now Tyrion's not trusted. That's the guy. Anyway, so yeah. So if Bronn, he had fired one of these scorpion bolts. We'll call them scorpion. I call them, but anyways, they're called scorpions in the show. He fires one of these scorpion bolts before. Maybe he could have gone to him and say, like, look, they can only turn at a 45-degree angle. Mm-hmm. They can't go all the way down. So if you go below the ships, you're fine. Yeah. Like, that would have made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Or just armor. You guys got the CGI. Just throw armor on him. You had one guy come out, like, hey, I got an idea. And then just cut away to him flying in with armor.
Something.
Or show Drogon is able to see one coming at him, so he shoots a fireball to burn the arrow before it hits him or something. You know, just a little something. Yeah, a little. But anyways, it was a little bit too easy, but it was still a very cool scene. Mm-hmm. I love to see. I mean, that was the first time we've seen him cast fireballs before, use his flames. Drogon, but he is just destroying these ships so easy. I mean, and we see later with him burning the castle and stuff that it's not even like, ooh, I'm casting a flame in your direction. It's explosive fire. That's not just an explosion, but melting stone. It's so intense. Yeah. It's really very well done.
So
CJ.
I think the reason behind that is the Valyrian had which is what Daenerys' people are. They're Valyrian. Mm-hmm. That's their race. they have an affinity with their dragons. It's kind of almost like warging, where they actually kind of feel each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think
Avatar.
Yeah,
status.
so I think he's more tapped into it when she's angry.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of this thing where it's
I
like
could see
he's
that.
more furious when she's more furious. And right now she's full fire.
And there's a magical element to their fire, right? That's the reason Valerian steel is the way it is. And,
Yeah. So there's that too. I think there's just all kinds of things that I wish could have been explained. One thing I had written down, I forgot to mention it, was Tyrion had designed the saddle for Bran. Wouldn't it be cool if he's the one that said the plate armor thing?
Yeah.
Give Tyrion a break, first of all.
Right?
And kind of like, oh yeah, he's already designed one thing. He reads books all the time. Maybe the Dread had this, something like that.
It would have been good if a couple seasons ago, if he made a saddle for Drogon for Daenerys.
Yeah, she doesn't use a saddle. She just holds on to the spikes.
Yeah.
But
That'd been cool.
yeah, so that happens. Then they destroy all the scorpions on the wall, and it's the same thing where he takes out all the defenses on the walls, and you're like, okay, why do those exist?
Yeah. Why didn't she do this the day before, or a couple days before, when Missandei was beheaded?
Yeah.
If that was an option before the Gold Company was ready, go fly. Take a nice long loop, half a mile, 2 miles, whatever, around. Come in the backside. Just kill everybody. Just start.
Cersei's
start
literally on the wall.
Yeah.
You could have taken care of everything right there. So is Euron, the leader of the ship that just took out Rhaegal.
Yeah. So
I
think that was a little hole in their story.
But I think maybe Dany just wasn't as fired up. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's why they didn't do it.
Like one of the first shots you see of him fighting, he does come up from real low and like coming like kind of straight up on the wall. That one makes sense. Like he surprised him. But then later on, you just see him like flying around, and the bolts. I noticed that the scorpions don't even turn to like shoot at him.
Yeah.
So it's like, did you guys just abandon the walls then? What happened?
And that would have been that would have been totally supported. Maybe they had to edit some of this down too, but that totally would have been supported by like a 5-second clip of like Bronn or Tyrion or somebody showing the prince and say, hey, these can only turn, like you're saying, 45 degrees or 20 degrees. They have a narrow limit of what they can do, and they need to be manned by 4 men at a time. So if you scare them away, they'll be abandoned.
Yeah, they didn't really even talk about strategizing. I mean, like even with the episode Long Night, there are multiple scenes of them just strategizing. Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna go. But we didn't really see that this time. Yeah. It was just kind of like winging it.
Yeah, maybe even like a little bit too, where like the guys at the bolts are just like, nope, and just bounce out.
Yeah.
Because then it shows that like, that's why they're not even trying to defend it. Because we're seeing a lot of people just want to get out of there. All right, so what do we have next? Oh, and then she destroys the Gold Company. The last bit of just easiness.
Yeah.
So she destroys the Gold Company. The way she did it was kind of cool. We knew that set was going to be big at that gate because they actually built that set. Instead of using Croatia or whatever it was, they actually built that set. So when it destroyed from behind to hit the Gold Company, then she went in and just barbecued them all, which was cool because everybody was waiting there. Now you know why John's army was waiting there. They just waiting for the door to be opened up,
Yeah.
But the Gold Company was way cooler army than that. Like, you should have saved them. They're some of the best fighters in all of the world.
Yeah, and they know exactly who their opponent is, which I understand they assume the Scorpions will be effective. But don't you think they would have had some harpoons or some other alternative? If the dragon gets through, we have these certain shields we throw over ourselves, or a backup plan. I would imagine if they are the best mercenaries in all Essos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they normally have elephants. Now we know why they didn't bring the elephants over, because it would have been a waste of CGI if they're going to die so fast.
Yeah.
But one thing that was upsetting is the Gold Company leaders, they actually come from Targaryen bastards. Mm-hmm. So he missed a really cool scene where the Gold Company could have been like walking up to Jon and saying, Jon, and then like kneel in front of him or something like that. Like, we're with the Targaryens.
Oh, that would
or something like that. Or maybe Varys' letter got to him and now they find out that Jon's rightful Targaryen. And so they would vow themselves to Jon. Like, how freaking cool could that have been?
Dany would have a cow, though.
She would have, or even if they did that to Dany, but the idea that like they're like, because the Gold Company never breaks a contract, but it'd be cool if like the one time they break that contract is to help Targaryens take back the throne. Like, it would have been amazing.
I think it would have been a really cool scene. It's not necessary, but if Dany and Drogon got separated for just a minute, and then everybody starts to surround Drogon, right? Like he had been before, he gets attacked, and then the Gold Company leader comes up and just puts his hand on him for a second, just so I can almost tame him. I can almost control this fire, but then Drogon turns and burns them all, and then goes back to Daenerys. Like, that would have been really just to play on that.
Like, you see his eyes like narrow down or something like that, like he's or widen or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then he like freaks out again.
Yeah.
Another thing too, just as a quick little aside, it did actually show their sigil, which is this like pile of skulls on a stick.
Yeah.
What that is again, Targaryen leaders. Every time the leader dies, they take his skull and they dip it in gold and they hang it to this one post. It's basically their flag. Mm-hmm. So that's a sigil. is a pile of skulls. It's all the past commanders that collect them on this thing. So that's what that is. If you guys are wondering, like, that's a cool looking sigil because it's a bunch of skulls. That's what it is. So that's how they honor their Targaryen past. All right. So that's too bad. And then we get another moment where, while this is all happening, right before this all happens, Tyrion goes up to Jon and says, "Hey, you hear the bells? Cut it out. They're surrendering." Another little foreshadowing.
Yeah, he was trying to go to pretty much everybody. He mentioned it, or like we said earlier, he
multiple people.
Yeah, he was telling.
Because he really cares. He cares about his city, and he cares about the people.
Yeah, and he reminded Daenerys at one point, like, just so you know, if they ring those bells, that means they're surrendering. So just take it easy.
Yeah,
like, even though she's already hot and doesn't care what he's saying, but he's trying to like just be aware. There's innocent people there. We don't want them all to die. You don't want to be the leader of Ashes, right? Like Queen of
something
Ashes.
that she said in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, but we see that was pointless.
So during the attacks, we're gonna have Jaime, who is trying to sneak into King's Landing. He's trying to get to Cersei and save her. And then we have Arya and the Hound have gotten down there now.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, one, kill Robert Strong / the Mountain. The other one is trying to kill Cersei.
Yeah.
Arya's trying to kill Cersei. So that's all our players in this battle. Oh, and then Cersei's just hanging out in the Red Keep.
I love the two of them together too. Well. I love Arya and the Hound. Whenever they've always worked together well. They would be a totally cool spinoff. Like,
that would be really good.
Show us 2 months that they were traveling together, heading south. Like, just make a separate show about that.
Always like not quite being the nice guys.
Yeah.
That would be really good. Like, they save some dude and his whole family, then they take their horses. Something like that. All right, so battle's ensuing. Drogon's like cleaning up all the defenses. King's Landing surrenders. Okay, we have Tyrion. He's like looking through like this broken wall where she had just broken through.
Yes,
he's seeing the army had just went in. They're smashing things down. The army's about to collide with the Lannisters. They're kind of like right there, ready to go at it. That's actually Lannister soldiers. So now we're at that point now. And Daenerys.
I gotta point out that shot with Tyrion standing at the gate was like a perfect shot. Like, cinematography wise, that was really cool scene right there.
Very good job cinematography wise in this episode.
Yeah.
Writing, shaking,
many
cinematography. Cinematography, great.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. It's worth noting. It's wonderful. And then we see Daenerys is sitting up on the walls with the dragon, with Drogon, kind of just overviewing everything. And you could feel the tension raising, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're waiting for those bells.
Yeah.
And then the bells go off. And we're like, okay, it's great. But the whole time you guys are watching that, you're still at the edge of your seat, right? Because you're like, okay.
Waiting, because you could tell in that moment she's making a decision in herself. Like, that's what she's waiting for, is to see which way that coin lands.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So if you guys haven't done it yet, there is some footage out there where Dan and Dave, it's not even Dan and Dave, maybe. I think it's maybe it is Dan and Dave. They're talking about how well Daenerys did the acting in this, and they show like the green screen version because she's sitting on a green screen dragon. It's not even the full dragon; it's just like the hump part that she sits on.
Yeah,
looking at all green screen, acting that out. And I mean,
it's gotta be hard.
When you're watching again, like when I'm watching this for the second time, I'm sitting there writing notes the whole time, right? That's how I had to stop and just watch this moment because it just enthralls you,
Yeah.
And you see her, and she's looking at everything. The bells are going off. The Lannister men have dropped their swords. All is well. We won it. And it's like for a second you see relief in her face. Yeah. And then she's just staring at the Red Keep. Her family built that Red Keep.
Oh, yeah.
That was their castle.
Yeah.
She's lost her whole family. Viserys, who was her brother, she's lost everything for this. Lost 2 of her baby dragons and her son Drogon. I mean, she's lost everything.
Yeah.
So she does it. She flies off, and were you guys still holding that hope when she flew off?
Yeah, I was hoping like, okay, she's gonna wipe out the Lannister army, head for Cersei, burn her to death, and be done. Now, all the armies are dead. There's nobody to oppose me. I can lead, no problem. Yeah, I was hoping that would still just be the outcome in the end.
Yeah, same here. I just thought she was just gonna go straight to Cersei and just burp.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I thought her step too far would be she'd go right up there, just kill Cersei real quick. Tyrion won't be happy with that later on. Yeah. But we're all okay. It's like, okay, we wanted Cersei dead. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
But then you start to see everybody run away. She's flying a little too low. And then, again, great piece of cinematography.
Right in front of Arya, right?
Well, no, this isn't the Arya part yet. No, she's still houndbound.
Yeah.
But yeah, the peasants are running around a corner of a street, and then you see Drogon flying above, and then he lets loose the fire, and you just sink emotionally. All hope is gone.
You're just heartbroken. Like
you are heartbroken.
Yeah.
I ended up like coughing up on that one.
Because you still were holding out that she might, she could be an okay person. She could still be a great leader, and she could be a great leader that just had to kill some people, some soldiers. But now you see she's murdering innocent women and children, just trying to flee for their lives.
She's trying to create as much havoc. She's serpentining back and forth to the city. She's making her way to the Red Keep like we wanted.
Yeah.
But she is burning it.
And she can make a straight line. I mean, the Red Keep's not that far away. Cersei's watching her as she just paces back and forth. And she's just going up and down the alleys, every street, just burning, mass herds of people that are trying to flee.
Yeah, after that sinking feeling and you see her start burning everyone, essentially, you're just like, she's mad. She's
insane.
She's gone mad.
Yeah. Now let me ask you guys. Okay, so we watched this all together, right?
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. I can't remember a TV show that had me affected this way. You know what I'm saying? Where you're watching it and you're on the edge of your seat. You have hope. You're feeling her emotions, and you're kind of like, "Come on, baby girl, don't do this." Calm down, get a cookie, you're good. Freaks out, and then you're like, "Oh, it's all is lost." And then fast forward maybe a minute, and you're like, "Somebody go kill Dany."
Yeah.
And the whole time you're rooting for somebody to kill Dany. Please.
Yeah.
It's such an emotional roller coaster.
Crazy.
They did a really good job of getting you emotionally invested in these characters. Imagine if they had 2 or 3 more seasons to elaborate on these stuff.
Yeah. I know.
God. But yeah.
I wish I had the funding to do it myself, man. I tell you.
But we saw her from a young girl who was getting married off to some big, powerful leader and all this stuff, being manhandled, and then gaining power, freeing innocent people. Like, we've really seen this character build up to where you're so proud of her.
Exactly.
You want to support her so much, but then now she has too much power and too much freedom with her power, and
she's never been checked, really.
Yeah. And that kiss with Jon, though. Did you we haven't mentioned that. Do you remember that?
We didn't mention that. You're right.
That I think was the breaking point. So, gosh, I can't remember how the whole scene was mapped out, but she's talking to Jon, and it comes. They mention that the people love her, right? Or
because she's always talking about how Jon's always loved, and either and it's basically coming down to you either rule through love or fear.
Yeah.
And she's like, people, they don't love me like they love you, and Jon says, I love you.
Yeah.
Then they start
she
to
says,
kiss.
people fear me, and he says, yeah, but I love you. Like, that's all you need is my love. Yeah. And then they kiss, and you see as a cold, dry kiss.
He doesn't care anymore. He's shut himself down.
He's no longer in love with her. He's just afraid of her. So he's trying to keep her at bay with his affections.
Which is what Tyrion's been doing. It's what everybody around has been doing lately.
So,
except for Grey Worm. He's on board.
So he steps back from that kiss, and she looks at him and says, "So fear it will be," or something like that.
Oh,
or so it'll be fear. I was like, heartbreaking, because now that's just, okay, your guys' romantic connection just broke.
I know.
And now she's just cold and ready for blood.
And you're rooting for the whole time. It's like if in The Office, if Pam just told Jim, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Like, no. You're rooting for these two to get together the entire last decade.
He gave up so much, and she did too. She lost two dragons, or at least one in his defense.
Half her army, half her people that believe her wholeheartedly.
But God, and imagine if she didn't follow Jon and she attacked Cersei without going north, and she would be weakened, but then came north fighting the Night King after he possibly defeated Winterfell. I wonder how all that would have played out. That would have been
there's gonna be there's a level of fanfic to this. There's already has been, because people have written into this time and time and time again. It's been just a fun activity to do, is writing how this could end, and there are some fantastic stories out there. Yeah. But like we talked about, you can only pick one.
Yeah.
And this theory, that how things are going right now, has been written out before.
Yeah.
People have talked about this theory, but it's always been kind of like, if we want to make things go lame, right? where our favorite girl's evil now or whatever. Yeah. Not necessarily evil, she's losing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that scene with her and Jon, and that, to me, that was like the first sign, that little break, that she's no longer our queen anymore. She's no longer like regal and sweet and powerful, or queen-like. That's the first sign that she's turned dark.
She sees she has to. Yeah. She feels she has to.
Yeah.
Well, at that moment when she, swoops down into the city and starts burning everyone, I mean, the first thing that I think of from that episode is Jon's face, his face reaction, like how he reacted to seeing her fly through with her dragon and just burn people alive, and the army's just like, we just surrendered, what is happening? And they're all right, pick up your swords and start fighting.
And I think in that moment he's doing the math all of a sudden too, like, oh fuck, I thought we could take out Cersei. Do we have the forces? Do we have the ability? Do I have the emotional strength to take down this dragon and queen who have just turned and now they're going to kill innocent people until they're stopped?
Ooh, I got too excited. I'm going to read the Azor High prophecy to you guys later on. It's going to blow your freaking mind.
Oh god.
Okay.
Oh
man.
I might need to pee before
I was so excited. Okay, yeah. So that's the thing right there. This is our red wedding moment. This is our Ned Stark being beheaded moment where the guy who's trying to be honorable the whole time realized that shit don't fly.
Yeah.
You have to be real here. It's a Shaggy Dog story. Things happen that way. We talked about it before.
And it just broke my heart when, they're in the streets and Jon's just like, no, stop fighting.
Yeah.
And his guys stop fighting, and then the other army just starts attacking them. And
the other guys throw down their swords after a minute, right? The Lannisters with the shutters.
The Lannisters throw down the swords. Jonathan, even you were getting this messed up. I had to rewatch it. Really pay attention to how this shook out.
I have to rewatch
because
it.
what you were thinking is that they picked back up their swords to defend their people. They didn't even do that.
Yeah.
So Dany's blowing everything up. She's got fire going. Yeah. They turn around to see the fire behind them. Yeah. And the one leader turns around like, what's going on? And Grey Worm, while they're turned around, picks up a spear and throws a spear at the leader. Yeah. Just like,
oh, that's so true.
Yeah. So, because Grey Worm, Missandei's gone. His humanity went with her.
He's the same as Cersei, or as Dany.
He is unsullied.
Kill everything.
Possibly Cersei too.
At this point, true. And so he's just like blood crazed, and he charges in. And the Northmen, they're in it. I mean, they're on the victory side. You got to think of, if you're a Northman, you just survived the Night King, and now you're taking over somebody who killed Ned Stark and Robb Stark. Yeah. Burn them all as well. Yeah. It takes a very composed, good Targaryen leader / Ned Stark's son to really restrain yourself. Yeah. And we see that, and it's heartbreaking. Our emotions are fluttering like crazy at this moment, but there is one of the Northmen, he's in North armor, that's pulling a woman aside to take it to have his way with her during this whole moment, which is something that we've seen happens before, in these moments.
Yeah, like why you gotta take your time to rape somebody in the middle of this huge battle?
Well, it's everybody's getting their own thing going on. It's unfortunate all around, but then Jon goes over there, stops the guy. The guy fights back because he's blood crazed right now. Yeah. Jon kills a North soldier and tells his King's Landing woman to go hide and find a safe place. Yeah, like everything is out the window now. It's all just nuts.
That's kind of cool though.
Okay, this episode is not a review. It's totally grief counseling.
Right? Honestly,
it was a rough episode.
We need to open up our doors to the public.
Yeah, come on, guys. We'll talk about it. Come on in. So yeah, Grey Worm, he's off tilt. I don't know where I'm at my notes anymore. Right. We just got insane. Yeah, so
that was intense.
It was crazy. So they're fully on fighting again. The Lannisters are being butchered at this point.
Yeah. Oh,
because civilians are being butchered.
They laid down all their arms. It was really bad time for them.
And Grey Worm and all the Northmen are and all the Unsullied and Dothraki. The Dothraki are there too. Yeah. They're just slicing and dicing everybody. This is Dothraki heaven. They're in their element right now. So then now we're catching up with Arya and the Hound. Mm-hmm. They're going through. I'm gonna kind of get out of order. Mm-hmm. They're going through like the map room we've seen painted in the past, and the Hound stops Arya and says, "Look, Cersei's dead. Yeah. She's not going to come out of this alive. Dragon's going to kill her. Dothraki's going to kill her. Something's going to kill her. Go home. Don't follow my path." Yeah. Like, not now, but, like, in general.
Yeah. Like, look at me. If you continue like this, you're going to be just like me, and you're going to die just like I'm about to die.
And if you think about it, the Hound is like an unstopping killing machine. He just now is growing up. That's what Arya is. Yeah. So Arya even tells him, like, thank you. She walks away. Thank you, Yeah. Really kind of a beautiful moment between the two of them, because this is definitely a goodbye. They're never going to see each other again. Yeah. No coming back from this. So Arya, she listens to him, she leaves, and then we see her surviving the attack the whole time. And she is the audience member. She is the peasant's point of view that throughout this whole attack.
Thrown back and forth from dragonfire explosions left and right, destroying walls, like barely surviving amongst the people until she's
just
the only
stampeding
survivor.
Alone might kill her. Like Black Friday, everybody's walking all over you,
God,
so
plasma screens. $29.99.
Best Buy. Right?
Yeah. So when she's getting stampeded, I'm thinking like, man, if this is how she goes down,
right? A rock to the head? Are you kidding me? She killed the Night King, and she's gonna get bludgeoned to death.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. Was like, oh, I'm going to Twitter right now. I'm getting so heated. But it was like, it would be fitting in how crazy this story is. It would be a
Shaggy Dog story, like you're saying.
She would die after killing the Night King. She would die by peasants stomping on her or something like that. But she survives, and we're watching her. There's a certain mom and child that she's kind of slowly saving the whole time. Yeah. And we're just going to finish everybody's thing out at this point. So We see that she's been knocked down. She comes back up. She narrowly survives Dragonfire a few times. And Dothraki. They're just killing everybody. Not the fact that she's Arya Stark and just saved them.
And rubble. She had been buried in rubble a couple times.
Yeah. And we see that the couple that, or the two that she was trying to save the whole time were burnt alive.
Yeah.
Everybody that she was just with got burnt alive.
Yeah.
And then she sees this lone horse.
I like throughout that series of events. I mean, it's a long series of events she's going through, barely surviving back and forth. But there's Dragonfire explosions left and right, buildings crumbling left and right, people screaming and running and stuff like that. But in that final scene, all of a sudden, after she pulls herself up the last time, it's quiet.
Yeah,
there's nobody else running. There's no more. At that point, everybody's either dead or fled the city already. Yeah. So it was really cool that at the like you're saying, when she finds the horse, there's just nothing else happening.
It was a very lucky horse.
Yeah.
And so she gets on the horse, she rides out till the next episode. So she's gone. And man, she needs to learn how to jump on Dragonback.
Yeah. But before that, she's separated from what's his name?
The Hound.
The Hound.
Yeah. So now, so they separated, right? Yeah. And now the Hound side, when he went off, is he comes across Cersei, Qyburn, the Mountain, and her Queen's Guard, all trying to escape at this point. Yeah. Obviously, hope is lost. Mm-hmm. And oh man, this felt good. Yeah. This felt really good.
We've been waiting for so long.
Oh yeah, this is Clegane Bowl. You know, everybody's Clegane Bowl English. And what I really loved is he calls him out. First off, Hound just kills all the other Queen.
Yeah,
there's
she sends him down.
Contest.
4 of them, right?
It was something. Yeah,
sends down 4 highly trained King's Guardsmen, her highest knights.
Those are the best ones.
They got chopped down 1 swipe each.
Yeah,
like nothing.
Easy. Which is what Barristan Selmy told Joffrey, like, I can cut through all your men to get to you. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Cut through all the men to get to who he wanted.
Yeah.
Robert Strong, his brother, the Mountain. And they call him Robert Strong. Yeah, the Mountain. So he steps down, and I love how Cersei's demanding, like, don't go, Qyburn.
And she's trembling in fear right now. She knows, like, she has very few chances of surviving. She needs everybody around her she can to get her out of there.
I've never seen Cersei like this before.
Never. So exposed. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's trying to protect herself and her baby this whole time that's inside her, so it is great.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tell Mountain, don't go. Qyburn stands in front of him, like, starts telling him a demand, because you'd assume that, like, he's Frankenstein, and he has, like, commands built into his head, and he's betraying all of those.
Qyburn created him to serve Cersei, so he's always obeyed Cersei to no end. And you'd imagine Qyburn's the one who told him to obey Cersei, so if nothing else, at least his commands will work.
Right.
But we see neither of them do.
He gets thrown down, bitch slaps.
Bloodlust for his brother.
Yeah, and just obliterates Qyburn.
Yeah.
Finally, he looks like the old man, like just like boom, pushed downstairs.
Throws him to the ground, and he just like breaks his head against a rock, right? Like pumpkin squash. Like
he is like shattered.
That was pretty great.
Yeah. And then Cersei's like, all right, I'm out. Yeah. Do your thing.
Bye.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they have their fight, and it's just great fight. That it was kind of whimsical almost. It was kind of like, because you have...
Oh, yes.
It was funny because you'd have, like, the Hound stab him a couple times, just like, are you serious?
Yeah, he was even laughing.
Against the wall, right?
Yeah. He was even laughing how, he was stabbing him, like, in the shoulder and his head and his neck, and he's like, why won't you die?
Yeah. And it was, we got the helmet finally off, and he was like, this is what you've always looked like from the Hound. It was just a really good moment.
Yeah.
There is one change I'd make to it, but basically what happened is the Hound finally tackles him through a wall, and they fall into Dragonfire, and they die together, which is fair. They died in fire. It's what we always wanted. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my one change. Hear me out on this. Is if that wall wasn't there and there was just fire, if the Hound threw him into fire knowing that there'd be fire there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would have been a little bit better, because it would be that final circle of him burning his brother like he burned him.
Right, because the Hound this entire series has always been really afraid of fire, and it was him embracing the fire to burn up his brother.
That would have been kind of cool.
So, I mean, I think you could assume that he knew there was going to be fire out there, that he was doing this to die in the flames. But it would have been kind of like just that one more step if he could see the fire.
Yeah.
And like he'd like look down and be like, okay, this is it. And then...
Or if in the battle there was a flame fire inside the castle that he threw his brother into, then his brother was flaming and still trying to fight him. So then he attacked him through the wall.
Yeah.
So that he had to, like you're saying, confront the fire still to take his brother
just
out.
That one more. I do think it's a pretty fitting ending.
Yeah.
They did really nice.
I agree.
They showed clearly too that his affliction, his version of zombie or whatever, undead Frankenstein kind of thing, wasn't the same as the Black or the Night King.
Yeah, the Night King. Yeah.
Because he put a dagger straight in the middle of his head, and he still didn't stop. He was able to pull it back out and
Yeah, it's a whole different. If people are confused about that, it's a whole different thing. This is more like mad scientist versus a zombie compared to magic zombies. Spells, So there's multiple zombies going on. And if you think of the Stone Men too, it's another version. But,
it was a good battle though. I liked it.
It was. I think it was good. So Jamie, he ends up getting in there. He finds Cersei, who's on. Oh, before Jamie gets in there, sorry.
Yeah. Fights with Euron, right?
Yeah, he's getting to the exit. Some magical way, Euron survived and swam up to sea just to fight him. Out of the sea to fight him.
Yeah.
I guess it's because he's drowned, so they never die. Makes sense. Okay. They fight it out. Jamie takes 2 big old stabs to the side. Mm-hmm. I thought, man, maybe this is how he's gonna go out.
Right in the kidneys.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could tell, like, if Jamie gets Cersei out, it's a one-way trip. It's not gonna last.
Even the music played it off well. Like, it sounded like, oh shit, Jamie is gonna die right here. Like, it sucks because we really love his character. We want to see him die heroically, and here he's gonna die where nobody even knows he's down there, and it was pretty disappointing. But I was glad to see that he made it out.
But I think it's a good character moment for Euron because this idea of like, I gotta be the one that kills Jamie, and telling Jamie like, you be the guy that killed 2 kings. I'm a king, and like, you're not a king, dude.
Yeah.
And it was just one of these things where I do wish that Euron said like, hey, I figured it out, it was your baby that's in her, not my baby. So there was that fight.
That would have been kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
But him just saying like, oh, I fucked the queen. That turning Jamie on was like, oh man, that's cool. That's a whole emotional thing because he's in love with his sister, and here you're saying you were sleeping with her this whole time. And that was kind of cool.
So I think it was a fitting end for Euron for sure, because then Euron's stabbed in the gut, and then he's still sitting there like while he's dying, he's like, I'm the one that killed Jamie Lannister.
I stabbed him. He's gonna die from those wounds. And,
So they both killed each other long-term ways, but could you imagine next episode we see Euron's fine or whatever, he's got like a band-aid.
Well, I mean, when he put that knife, when Jamie stabbed him in the gut, he even like turned it a couple times, and the sound of that, like I had to just like cover my ears. It was too much.
Sure, you're not a big fan of that kind of stuff. So Jamie ends up killing Euron, we think.
As far as we know.
Jamie finds Cersei in the map room and tells her, hey, there's these catacombs. And he takes her down to the catacombs, and they're running. It's blocked off. Yeah. He's freaking out, trying to tear down walls, and Cersei's just like, I'm sad. Or I'm scared. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
All these... We never heard this from Cersei.
Right. So vulnerable again.
Yeah. And it was almost like Dana Davis trying to make us feel sad for her. Very hard to do.
I didn't like that, though. I liked the whole episode. I liked that scene, but... For her character to have done a 180 so fast, like, I understand you're human, you're about to die, you're scared, but I don't want to feel bad for you yet. It's too soon for me to feel bad for you. Like, in this one episode, you were just a sinister bitch trying to kill everybody. You beheaded Missandei just last episode.
Yeah.
And then now I'm supposed to feel humanity and compassion for you.
My only sadness in this moment is in the reflection off of Jamie.
Yeah.
And seeing how he embraces her to like make her feel better. Yeah. All these things like that is where I'm feeling the emotion, not from her.
Yeah.
From her, I'm like, just push her into some rubble and be done with it. But,
move on.
Yeah. So then we see he embraces her and they say it's only been you or something along those lines, you know. And we're seeing the rubble collapse in the back.
It's just something like, we're here together now, nothing else matters. Or something
and it was something that he had said in the past.
Yeah.
There are so many callbacks to the first 2 seasons of this show in this episode. And that was one of them. And the rubble collapses and kills Jamie and Cersei.
That's another one where the visual effects, the cinematography, whatever, that camera angle was beautiful.
Yeah.
Seeing the 2 of them embrace each other, and then in the back, there's like 7 pillars or something behind them. You see them just collapse one after the other until it slowly works its way to them, and it's like
wonderful job.
Yeah, really.
I want to say the guy doing this. I can't remember his name, but I think he's the one that did the Battle of the Bastards and the Battle for Helm's Hardhome.
Battle for Helm's Deep. Lord of the Rings.
And I think he's the one doing one of the spin-offs too. So very, very well done. So it's already fine. Now, let's talk prophecies. Because there's always a prophecy that her little brother would kill her, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is kind of a double death. All right. It took the second time I watched it, I caught the other one. So first of all, Jamie took her down there where she died.
Yeah.
So technically, Jamie, one of her younger brothers, did kill her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Led her to her death, and it was his fault.
But who told Jamie where to go down?
Tyrion did. Yeah.
Tyrion also killed her. I don't think it's gonna go down that way in the book. I think it's too easy. It's not, we're really kind of connecting dots here that we don't, it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But I like to think her brothers killed her, which was part of the prophecy. So it's a stretch, but I'm down. Anyway, Cersei dies. Okay, see, we're talking so fast. I'm going way past my notes, guys.
Yeah, because did we see where Jon or Daenerys went to the end of the episode?
No. So what we saw was Daenerys is just killing everything.
Laying waste,
Yeah, she's burned it all like her dad said.
Yeah.
And, but...
I like, too, when she gets to was it the Red Keep, that we see her burning a tall tower, burning it through the sides so intensely that it's not falling over or
No, yeah.
it's melting into itself.
Yeah.
It's imploding. It's collapsing.
She's like
in
shattering brick. Just
Yeah.
it just shatters like glass.
So
And so it is, yeah. And we're seeing it rain, or it's snowing ash, which is going to be important later on.
Yeah.
We're seeing that happen right now. And and so we're seeing a lot of that happen. And we saw John. John finally gets control of his military. He says, let's fall back. And we see him run out. There's some peasants that are with them.
Mm-hmm.
So John's finally getting the army out of there while she's laying waste to the rest of the city and bringing it all down.
Yeah.
And that basically where it wraps it up. Is there any other things we should bring up that happened during the episode that's important?
Not that I think we talked about just about everything.
Yeah.
Arya's adventure. We didn't see anything with.
I think Arya's adventure is gave her the fuel that she needs to kill Dany.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my prediction. That.
Yeah, because I mean that's what she gets on the horse and we have to assume like she doesn't know where she's going, but she has to go whatever direction that dragon's going.
Yeah.
She knows I killed the Night King to save the world. Now I have to kill his dragon and Dragon Queen to save the world because
I don't think
nothing else matters.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Will that be too
but she's
easy?
gonna be trying at least. Oh yeah, it would be.
Or Grey Worm.
Emotionally-
Grey Worm.
Grey Worm, I think, is gone. I think Grey Worm will be killed by Tyrion or something.
It would be
I like
emotionally satisfying if it's Jon. I mean, Jon's got to be the one that does it.
I'll explain. Okay, let me read the Azor Ahai. Okay, so there's the show and the book are all about prophecies, right? There's a lot of prophecies going on.
Uh-huh.
The Azor Ahai is one where they believe that there's going to be this thing that ends up saving the world. This man, this hero that comes up, or woman that saves the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me first explain the return of Azor Ahai, what they expect to happen. Okay, this is going to be a lot of reading, guys, and I'm not so great with reading it loud. So here we go. There will come a day after a long summer when the stars bleed and the cold breath of the darkness falls heavy on the world. Now, stars bleed. That was in the first season, the last episode. That's when Dany's dragons were born.
I see a comet coming down too, right?
The
Red
bleeding
Priestess
star.
mentioned it.
Yeah. And it's important for a lot of characters. We're seeing moments happen that are like, this could be important. Could be a rebirth of Arya when she sees her dad die. She's a rebirth. We saw the dragons born. That it's important for everybody. In this dread hour, a warrior shall draw from a fire a burning sword, and that sword shall be Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes. And he who clasps it shall be Azor Ahai come again, and the darkness shall flee before him. See, I'm so good at reading. Okay. So that was the return of Azor Ahai. So basically what we're getting is some hero will wield the sword he calls Lightbringer and shoo away darkness. Yeah. Okay? So everybody's assumed for the longest time that's going to be him getting rid of the Night King. Okay? Yeah. Now, here's a lot more reading, guys. Okay, this is the legend of the Lightbringer of Azor Ahai from back in the day. This is how, so I think this spells out what's going to happen. Okay? Darkness lay over the world, and a hero, Azor Ahai, was chosen to fight against it. To fight the darkness, Azor Ahai needed to forge a hero's sword. He labored for 30 days and 30 nights until it was done. However, when he went to temper it in the water, the sword broke. He was not one to give up easily, so he started over. The second time, he took 50 days, 50 nights to make the sword, even better than the first. To temper it this time, he captured a lion and drove the sword into its heart, but once again, the steel shattered. Lannisters are lions. Okay?
All right.
Okay?
All right.
So there might be something there.
Sword shattered in its heart.
So maybe in the attempt to get Cersei, everything fell apart. Okay. The water one could be ice.
So tempering a weapon, this isn't necessarily him making a sword. This is
it's all metaphor. So yeah, it could be him becoming the
building an army or something like that.
Or it could literally be his sword. He has Longclaw and he's had it the entire time. It's been important to him.
Yeah.
So okay, here's the last one. And the first one is water, so it could have been the ice from Night King. Okay. Third one. The third time, with heavy heart, so feeling bad, and heart, okay? My hand gestures are important, guys. You don't see them. For he knew beforehand what he must do to finish the blade. He worked for 100 days and nights until it was finished. This time he called for his wife, Nissa. Okay, so he's calling for his wife to come over. Okay, and asked her to bear her breast. He drove his sword into her living heart, her soul combining with the steel of the sword, creating Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes. Although he had Lightbringer, Azor Ahai did not fight alone. The Jade Compendium mentions that when the hero thrust the blade through a monster, the creature burst into flames. My prediction, based off of the history of these books, is he will convince Dany to come closer to him. Like, let's make things calm. I love you, blah, 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 blah. He'll put Longclaw into her and bring it out Red Sword, and he will kill Dany. Then he will go out and he will slay Drogon.
That totally fits.
With the fiery sword he gets from killing Dany, he'll go kill off Drogon too. And we will have no more dragons.
But why Drogon?
Well, because it's the last part saying that he used that fiery sword to kill off Drogon. I think I think that'll be like almost an afterthought. I think the main thing is that he will become a great leader. Because I think that's kind of the metaphor of the Azor Ahai weapon is after he kills he tempered it one last time.
God, that'd be intense.
Yeah.
So, but how did we? You're saying we saw the first two swords break?
So let's say that's okay. So his first trial, call them trials, that when he's tempering the sword, the first one was with water.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume water, ice. That one's kind of shaky.
But it doesn't need to be his weapon. It could be him being tested as a leader.
Right. Or him going north with snow. It's water, right? Yeah. The second one was with a captured lion. It didn't work out and it shattered. Okay. It could have been his attempt to capture Cersei. Nothing worked out. Right? For him, anyways. For Dany, it's working great. Yeah. But for him, it shattered. Or there's other lines out there. Jaime, he's captured Jaime before. And with Tyrion, maybe something to do with Tyrion. Maybe Tyrion will get in his way. And
but he's never killed the Lannister, right?
No, but his attempt to capture King's Landing now is an attempt to capture. He captured a lion. Yeah. Boom, but it didn't work. It could be considered. This is all gesture. We're just working. Yeah. And then the last one, I'm thinking, and that's what I love is that in the legend before, he knew what he had to do. Yeah. And it was heavy-hearted. Yeah. And so he calls his wife over knowing he has to stab her. And he stabs her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of just
so right now we're seeing Daenerys furious and full of fire and just killing everything, but that's going to pass. She's in an emotional state. Yeah. Emotions change. When she cools down, is she going to reflect and be like, oh my God, I just killed 5,000 innocent people. What did I do? I'm such a monster. And he will go to her with compassion and bring her close and say, it's okay. Together we can rule and blah, blah, blah. And then kill her. Like, she could...
I could see that, yeah.
She could turn... Because, she's emotional. She's a person still. Like, she's not going to always be mad. She'll calm down at some point. And maybe that will make her vulnerable enough for him to do, like you're saying, stab her in the heart.
Does that make sense to you?
It does. I'm just thinking about, the last time Jon and Dany kissed. Yeah. How it was very cold. So she might be... she might not be...
I don't think her emotions are going to change.
Who does she have if she comes down from this high of anger and fire and realizes that she's a monster, or I don't know, or at least regrets her decisions? She has nobody else to turn to.
True.
Yeah, but let's think about this. What is Dany more worried about than Jon's love right now? Jon's name. She would bring him in saying, if Jon just were to fake it till he makes it and just says, let's just get married, and Dany's thinking, if I marry him, I'm still queen and nobody can question it. And then when he gets closer,
it's or I can kill him, and she's
I know.
She's less about the politics and more about I'll take off all the heads I need to until I'm queen.
Yeah, that's true. Right now she's definitely that. Yeah. But I think there will be a moment where Jon will fake it, trying to get closer to I love you, yada yada yada. Yeah. Having a heavy heart because really he still does. He just fears her. Yeah. But he still loves her, but he fears her. Kind of a Jaime Cersei thing going on. Yeah. And then he will become Queenslayer and kill her. And then the new king. So I think that legend actually is a hint to how things...
It's an emotional roller coaster.
I love this damn show. All right. So let's look at the death toll, guys. We had...
I want to point out, too, I don't know if I'd mentioned it in the podcast, but I remember before there was a scene where Cersei was standing in front of candles that happened to surround her, flames around her head. So I was like, oh, man, that totally means she's going to die in fire. I was completely wrong. She didn't die in fire. She's buried in rubble.
I'm still holding out that hope that the Night King will need Jon Snow to be his new son. Will take Jon Snow to become the new Night King. I'm sure Night King's fine.
Yeah, he's just faking it.
Fake news.
He sent a what do you call it? A person in his place.
Yeah, that's a proxy.
Yeah, proxy.
All right, so by the way, at the credits they play the Rains of Castamere, which out of the beautiful moment, which you never would have thought of happened, when Jaime and Cersei are hugging and embracing and they're coming down, you get the Rains of Castamere going on.
Oh yeah.
That song, it's in the books too, but they really mastered it in the show. Yeah. It really comes through.
I don't know how they make you hear it in the books.
Well, because the words are in the books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in the show, they play it hard and fast when Lannisters are victorious. The Red Wedding, it's But then when it's sad and somber, I know I'm really good at that, aren't I? But when it's sad and somber, it makes you feel emotional, like the poor Lannisters, or the Lannisters. It goes back and forth. I love that.
Yeah.
So anyways, really death toll. Cersei is dead. Jaime dead. Varys dead. I hate to see him go. Yeah. Sandor Clegane, the Hound, is dead, and Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, is dead. We lost some big ones this time. Next week, what we're seeing: Jon, Davos, Arya, and Tyrion. They're all walking around looking at the rubble. They're all reflecting on how terrible things are. But we see Dany and her troops like occupy King's Landing. Mm-hmm. They look straight up like Star Wars Empire lined up, or other real life dictators. But like I'm trying to keep it lighthearted with Darth Vader.
Yeah, they're like full power with no more. What do you call that? Like nobody else is defying them. No more resistance. Yeah. So. I mean, we know there's 5 or 6 out there that still see that this is insanity and we need to stop them, but there's no other powerful force around them to worry about. There's small kingdoms that they can easily conquer. Yeah.
So okay, let's go over why the internet's upset real quick. I know we're getting pretty long in the tooth, but the internet's all upset right now because they feel like, oh, Dany deserves better than this kind of ending. Dany deserves better than being the villain.
This was like the best ending for her. What do you want her to be, like a sweet, innocent queen who's going to rule until she's old and dies in bed? I think a lot
of people wanted her to like kill Cersei. They all wanted the Lord of the Rings ending. The happy ending where the Shire is happy and we have, Aragorn's the new king and everybody's happy.
I think this paints her out as so much more of a powerful person than if she were to stay innocent.
Well, talk about independent women.
Like, exactly. I don't need Jon Snow. F this. I'm going to burn down the whole kingdom.
Watch me.
Well, I think the key is people are expecting this to be a fairy tale happy ending, and it's something we've been told from the beginning. Don't expect that, right? Even when Ned started dying was a real big hint to that. But it's one of those things where, as time goes on, it's realistic that it would be realistic if they all died in Winterfell. Yeah. We got lucky they got past that, really. Yeah. And it's just how things are done, and I think it boils down to the fact that we first off don't have enough shows to really kind of extend the story out. I think in the books it'll explain it a lot better. But I think it's one of those things where if you rewatch a show and you really pay attention to Dany's reaction to things, you get a little bit more like, oh, wait a minute.
A little pretext to her decision, her switch like that.
Yeah, we put a mask on it of like, oh, she's becoming a great leader.
Yeah.
What if you just think of she's just becoming a powerful leader?
Yeah.
That's really...
A lot of her smaller mistakes when she was younger, we just chalk up to her being young and naive and learning the ropes. But like you're saying, those could be early signs of a mad queen, and we're just not looking at them that way.
Yeah. I mean, the house motto, fire and blood. I mean, she lived up to those pretty well.
Yeah.
So we wrote down a couple examples here, okay? You had brought up a good one. When Miras Mazdur, the Blood Witch, that cursed Khal Drogo, she tied her to the fire pit, the spire, when she went to go burn Khal Drogo. I mean, like, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And that was full on like shut down emotion time.
And that was the first time she killed somebody in fire, right? That was the first time she killed somebody at all, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that was at her command.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of things that are kind of like, well, I would too, these times, stuff like that. But you got to remember, we grew up watching, in the last 10 years we've been watching the show, and that seemed almost like, yeah, you go for it. But then if you kind of like step back one more level, it's like, it's not really just.
Yeah, you just burn somebody alive.
She did bring him back. Yeah. She did tell her it would cost you anything.
Her entire village was just murdered and raped, so she was kind of justified in killing one person.
Because his whole story is about gray lines, So, okay, next, Dany's vision in the House of Black and White. This was super important. They actually paid all those off right now. When she's in the house, not Black and White, I'm sorry, the House of the Undying, the warlocks that stole the dragons.
Yeah.
She had a couple visions in there. 2 that are important. Bran had a vision, actually. Bran's vision is actually of Drogon flying over the city, so we knew that was coming.
Yeah.
The vision she had is where she goes through King's Landing. It looks like it's snowing. We know now it's just ash.
Yeah.
And the throne room is all burnt up, and she's about to touch the throne, and then she's not able to. That's going to be a hint for the next episode, I think.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. So we saw before that she will get to that throne room, but it'll be destroyed, the throne room. So we already told...
She's going to be the Queen of the Ashes.
Season 2, that she will be Queen of the Ashes.
Yeah.
When she gets to Meereen and all the other slave cities, she crucifies, for a better lack of the word, 163, I think it was, slave masters who had done that to the children. Now, if you pay attention, that sounds like just, but when you pay attention to it, at the time, a lot of the children of the slave masters were saying, like, my dad wasn't a slave master, he was like the bookkeeper. But she's like, I don't care. He's one of them. Put him on a pike.
Yeah.
She needed that number, 163. She didn't care. And people were pleading with her, please, my dad's a good man.
Yeah.
It was just tradition. He inherited the slaves.
He was the chef. He just fed the slave masters and like that.
It was things like that where it was like
jobs.
it was all these royal families and their kids were like, please just have compassion. She's like, no, do this. And again, at the time, as a viewer, you're watching and you're like, yeah, put them on pikes.
Free the slaves, kill all the bastards murdering slave masters and stuff. But
so rewatch that and think, what would Jon do?
Yeah.
Would Jon throw them all on pikes?
No.
Probably not. He would banish them, which was what Ned Stark did to Jorah Mormont.
Yeah.
They would do for slave trading. They would have done something a little different, something a little bit more Send to the Black or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. She burned. Let's see. She burned all the Dothraki leaders. You and me were talking about this too.
That was a badass scene, though.
That was a badass scene. Susan, do you think that was cruel or just a good idea?
You remember that scene where she tips over the plates of oil in that tent full of the Dothraki lords? And she walks out as they all burn to death because she was going to be captured there.
I totally had forgotten about that.
Yeah, such an awesome scene. I like because she walks out to her new people.
And they have her music going.
All of the Dothraki had come together for this big conference or whatever, and all of the leaders are burning to death behind her. She walks out of fire.
Maybe it's just like a switch in her. Like all throughout the season, it was just like mad. Good, like you know, mad.
And we just saw the switch
or whatever
tip over again.
Yeah,
while she's on the back of a dragon.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Tyrion talks Dany down from after that when she gets back and she sees people attacking Meereen. Tyrion talks her down from just scorching every army and then going back and burning down their cities. Mm-hmm. It was Tyrion that talked her down from that. If Tyrion didn't do that, she probably would have done it.
That is very true.
We're now seeing. Think of what she wouldn't have done if Tyrion could have talked her down this time. She did what Tyrion had talked her down from last time. Just now. She burns the so this is a sad moment. You remember this. Mm-hmm. The Tarleys, the dad and the son that were in the army the last season, she burns them execution style after they surrender, just because they wouldn't bend the knee. And Tyrion's telling her, like, don't do that, be cool. Yeah. So we saw her escalating this entire time through season 7. And then, let's see, what we got last? Oh, yeah. The last 2 seasons, in prep for this whole thing, the entire time we saw Cersei, Varys, and even Jon tell her, like, she's been wanting, like, why don't I just go over there and burn up the castle real quick? They're like, no, we're going to go to King's Landing, and then we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yeah. All these strategic things. She's just like, why don't I just fly in, and we can take care of this.
Yeah.
And so, there's been a lot of moments throughout the show where we saw she's been evil. Is there any other moments you can think of where just, like, not evil, hold on, I don't want to leave it at that, where she has shown Mad Queen temperament. There we go.
Gosh, I'm trying to, like, think back through all the seasons, but now that we have been, or you pointed out a couple of different scenes of her, just like that switch in her.
I like the way you put that. That makes a lot of sense.
It's just like, oh, wow, like, I would have never thought that would be like a Mad King move. It would, at the moment, it seemed just like, oh, this is just, like, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think that moment on the dragon where you hear the bells ringing and you just see her look at the castle and it's just like, nope, I'm mad and this is it.
I'm telling you guys, the way it affects you, mm-hmm. I can't think of television doing that in the past. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm writing notes, I just had to put down the pen and just like absorb it again. Because TV, everybody's so upset about this, but think about how upset you are. Mm-hmm. This is a TV show that's gotten you this invested in it.
I'm trying to think of another movie that had such an emotional impact, but I can't.
Endgame. Endgame got me good. Yeah, but I'm telling you, like the night that this happened, I know I have to do the pod. We have to talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
So that night, it took me a while to go to sleep because I'm sitting there thinking, like, was it good that they did this? Was it bad that they did this? And then I'm sitting there thinking, and then I went, because I'm on Twitter venting a little bit, because I'm always, again, optimistic. I'm like, guys, you got to think about it, And I realized to myself, like, if I'm thinking this much about the show, then damn, what a good show.
Right.
Good or bad, I'm investing my thought to this so much.
Yeah. That's good. And I always think that with independent actors and their individual moments and stuff like that, like, if that inspired genuine emotional responses in me, then that was amazing acting or writing. So overall, this was a hugely emotional episode. This entire series was an emotional roller coaster. So
for days afterwards, people are still baffled by it.
Yeah.
You know, don't you guys wish we were talking about Starbucks cups right now?
Right?
Right? And her chai tea latte, right?
Yeah, that was a fun week, and now we're all like, oh. And I'm sure next week is going to be even worse because we're going to finally get the finale.
I'm an emotional eater, so...
we need more of those Oreos.
I know.
Yes.
We'll have an Oreo behind or next to each of us.
I know. We finally were able to get a hold of the Oreos that have all the different houses.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I don't want this cookie. I don't want to eat a
eat
Stark
Lannister
cookie.
I'm like a master. I serve every house. It just doesn't matter.
Eat all the Lannister
Even
cookies
the
after
Night
Jamie
King.
and Cersei.
I don't want the Night King cookie.
I have noticed that I don't have enough Starks in mine, so I might have to write Oreo like, look, you owe me a free box or bag or whatever.
Right.
Yes.
Needless to say, Susie's pickiness means I'm eating a lot of cookies.
And we walked right by it in the store. Jonathan didn't have to say anything. I just grabbed 2 and put it in the cart.
I can't believe you guys found them. I've been looking for them. I can't find them anywhere. And so, which one did you guys find it at?
The Walmart.
Yeah.
The gold one, really?
Yeah. And it wasn't in the cookie aisle. It was like in
An
the
end cap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I keep going to the Oreo like section because I don't know how this happened, but overnight Oreo has 15 different flavors.
Right?
That snuck up on
Birthday
me.
cake. Hello.
I'm seeing carrot cake. I've noticed it. And yeah, I keep looking over there. And I've seen online it's the black, so I'm like, okay, it'll be easy to spot when I do see it.
Yeah. No. It was so random. It wasn't like displayed or anything. It was like on this side. There wasn't that
Weird.
many. Yeah. I just happened to because you walk by, you looking, checking everything out, and it's like, Jonathan.
We have to get these.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good call. I appreciate you guys bringing them over too.
That's awesome.
Okay, so next week we're actually gonna avoid. We're not gonna do our like regular Geek Freaks episode because it's the finale.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna do a good size one. We'll record it a couple days later on because I guess we're gonna need a lot of notes.
Oh
We
yeah.
all know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it a few times.
We're gonna bring Joshua on, who did the Avengers. I think he did a pretty good job doing the Avengers
okay.
review. So he's gonna be on for that too.
Cool.
And it's funny because, so you guys remember how far away Avengers Endgame was?
Yeah.
He had not seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. He's up to season 5 now.
What is that, like 3 weeks ago?
Oh goodness.
He's gonna binge the rest of the season before and watch the finale live. That's his goal, and I thought nuts. And
That's
I'm
pretty
watching
smart,
him do
though.
it. It's unreal. Yeah,
I feel bad for his emotional state.
Oh wow,
Man.
yeah. He just went through Red Wedding.
Yeah.
And then
right?
in a couple of days we'll go through Daenerys change. Like we're gonna have some like Xanax for him or something like
Right.
that. We definitely need some cookies.
Nah.
So yeah, so the next episode will be a big monster one, and then we'll kind of talk about what we think of the prequels coming out and stuff like that. So we'll go over to spin-offs stuff like that.
That'd be awesome. Think of some other ideas for spin-off suggestions.
Oh, I like that idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for being with us as we kind of talk through our emotions. Always a great episode, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye guys.